we're going on a Facebook Live adventure again. It's me, Dr. Gareth Smith. I will be covering all the pertinent things about topical or transdermal magnesium today. It's a very helpful thing, much better than oral magnesium. So if you are interested in getting your magnesium level up, first of all, if you don't know about the benefits of magnesium, just go Google magnesium health benefits and you can find research and anecdotes and testimonials and all this. Magnesium is deficient everywhere in our diets today, and it's not going to be in the food anytime soon, so we might as well get it from somewhere. Pills don't work that well based on testing. Too much magnesium by pills can stress your kidneys, so transdermal or topical is the best way to go. So let me go into my basic stuff that I go over at the start. First, I am a licensed naturopathic physician in the state of Arizona. I am a doctor. I am not your doctor unless you're working with me. So if you decide to take anything I'm talking about in this presentation and run with it and go do something with it and something doesn't work out, that's on you. That's not on me if you're not my client. Okay? You're an adult. Act like one. Okay, next. I'm giving basic guidelines for how I would use topical or transdermal magnesium on myself in this video, or potentially with one of my clients, but with each of my clients I give a more individualized approach. So these are guidelines, they're not recommendations. I don't prescribe. Well, I do prescribe to people I've seen in person in the state of Arizona, but that's rare and that's not something I do. I do nutrition. So these are just recommendations. My contact info, should you want to get in touch with me, let me aim this down a little more. My contact info, in case you want to get in touch with me for more, nutritionrestored.com. There's the contact page. Julie's email, she is my office manager extraordinaire, is admin@nutritionrestored.com. And then our phone number is 520-577-6888. Pretty easy number, I like it. Okay, so into magnesium first. Everybody says, well, I'm taking magnesium pills. Great. It's a good start. I can tell you through hair testing and red blood cell magnesium testing, pills don't work that well. Sometimes they don't work at all. They don't work for me at all. I have the hair test to prove it. If I don't use topical magnesium, my magnesium level on hair tests just keeps slipping further and further down. This is the way it is for 90% of the people I hair test in my practice. It's not the type of magnesium. I've tried citrate, I've tried threonate, I've tried glycinate, I've tried malate, I've tried, what's the other one? Orotate. I've tried them all. I have the testing to show that most of them in most people don't work. It's just the way it is. People might feel a little better, but it doesn't bring their levels up to where we want them to. When people do the topical magnesium well, it generally brings it up. Some people have to do more than others, but topical works the best. So, yeah, again, I don't care what type people will be like, but I tried this type, and I have people who come to me taking 1,600 milligrams of magnesium glycinate a day. Multiple people. 1,600 milligrams of elemental magnesium. So that means they're taking like 10 pills a day. I had people doing this this was like 5 years ago. It might bring their magnesium levels up a bit. It does not work that well, though. And they're taking 10 pills of magnesium a day. At what point do we say enough is enough and we got to just do something else? The definition of insanity, right? Don't keep banging your head on the wall and wonder why your head hurts. Stop banging your head on the wall. Change your approach. Topical changes the approach, okay? Is magnesium bicarbonate water some magical supplement of magnesium that bypasses all the other oral types and works better? Not from what I've seen. And most people find it a pain in the butt to make, so they stop making it, and then they don't drink it anymore. And it does tend to lead to bowel tolerance pretty quick, too. So, let me see what else I wanted to go over. Oh, things that we use the hair test for to help with dosing magnesium. Okay, there's two things we look for on a hair test. One, relative levels of magnesium. This is the most important one. When you're looking at your hair test, when you look at a trace elements hair test, not ARL, not Analytical Research Labs. I don't know how well they're set up for this visual. When you're looking at a trace elements hair test, we want, first of all, you want a good cal-mag ratio, which is about a 7. Anywhere from, I think it's a 4 to a 10 is the okay range, I think, if I'm recalling it right, but I know we wanted around a 7. Most people get around a 7 to 10 on my program if they do things right. So, which is acceptable. Then the relative level of magnesium, when you're looking at the TEI graph, wherever calcium bar is, so relative, so let me back up. Absolute versus relative. Absolute would be your magnesium level by itself. Is your magnesium level by itself okay? Or is it too low? Or is it higher than we think it should be? Which is a total other topic. Most of the time, it doesn't mean people are taking too much magnesium. Most of the time it means that it's an absolute magnesium compensation to calcium. So, wherever so that now we're going into relative, so relation to each other, relative, relation to calcium. If you're looking at your graph, wherever the calcium bar is, you want your, if you are getting enough magnesium for your body, your magnesium bar will be as tall as your calcium bar in a trace elements test, or the magnesium bar will be slightly taller than the calcium bar. I don't care how high your calcium bar goes. The magnesium, if you are getting enough, will compensate. Think of it as magnesium protects you against the damaging effects of calcium. For those of you who have seen my presentations before, I have a study that shows that magnesium deficiency can lead to iron overload. Well, boy, there's that another connection between calcium, I'm telling you magnesium protects you against high calcium, and not enough magnesium, magnesium deficiency has also been shown to contribute to iron overload. Magnesium and calcium are just totally intertwined completely. So anyway, getting magnesium will help with iron overload too, but it's not the main things that prevent it. It's just one of those things that if you don't have enough magnesium, you're just inviting iron overload more. So then we go into, we talked about oral magnesium not working for 90% of the people. It might help a bit, but here's the key thing. If you have never tried topical magnesium or transdermal magnesium, and you've been taking magnesium pills, and you go and you try some topical magnesium, and let's say all of a sudden you notice you're sleeping better, or your blood sugar seems more stable, or you seem more relaxed, what that means is that the topical, or the oral magnesium, the pills you had been taking up to this point, aren't working. And all of a sudden you use some topical, and you got the benefits of magnesium that you haven't gotten so far. So, what else do you need to see? You don't need a test to tell you that. You just need to know that topical works better. Okay? So then we go into, I did have a question from Ruben. So now we're going to go into the types of topical. The two major types, the bases that these things are made from. There's Epsom salts, which are magnesium sulfate. Remember the sulfate, that's very important. Then we have magnesium chloride. So the chloride, same stuff that's in sodium chloride, which is salt. Potassium chloride, which is a potassium salt or a salt substitute often. I'll use both of those in my practice. Magnesium chloride is the one that most people are familiar with topical magnesiums. Zechstein makes the main source of it. There's other ones, but that's what's in the lotions and the mag oil sprays, which mag oil is misleading. It feels oily, but there's no oil in it. It's just water and magnesium flakes mixed, or it came out of they made a brine, which is, anyway, we don't get into all that stuff. There's lotion. There's Magahol, which is a great thing, combination of, sounds funny, vodka and magnesium, and you mix them together and you apply it topically. It's not for doing shots, okay? So then we get into Epsom salts versus magnesium chloride. Ruben was asking about why some people don't feel good on Epsom salts. So, let's take a step back. Am I about to say that Epsom salts are bad? No. Put your thinking cap on and listen to what I'm about to say. Some people do an Epsom salt bath and they get out of it. Most people feel good after an Epsom salt bath. They feel relaxed. They feel like if they're normally having trouble falling asleep, they're going to fall asleep better. Their joints feel better. Lots of things feel better. That's the normal. That's the typical response. I deal with a lot of atypical people. I deal with a lot of the, and I mean this in the nicest way, I deal with a lot of the rejects of a lot of doctors because other doctors gave up on them. So they don't react to things the normal way. I'm one of these people. So Epsom salts often in certain people, so if you're one of these people, you need to know that it's not your fault. Epsom salts will cause them to become hot, feel overly warm, irritable, they won't sleep, they might get anxiety. It's just a bad situation. If you don't, it's probably from, so Ruben, in answer to your question, it's probably the sulfur, it's not the magnesium. You got to remember, whenever you have magnesium sulfate or magnesium malate, which is bound to malic acid, or magnesium citrate, magnesium which is bound to citric acid. Citric acid has its own effects. We can use those effects. We can get a double effect out of one supplement. Magnesium has its effects, citric acid has its effects. Magnesium has its effects, chloride has its effects. Magnesium malate, malic acid has its effects, and the magnesium has its effects. Smart people can figure out how to get the right effect from both things. Or if we say, I don't feel good on magnesium sulfate, I can't use magnesium sulfate anymore, Epsom salts. I won't sleep. So I don't. Here's the simple solution. I don't feel good when I do that, doctor. Don't do that. I don't feel good when I eat that. Don't eat that. I don't feel good when I take that pill. Don't take that pill. Don't let anybody tell you that you should feel crappy to take something that, like, every time I take that pill, doc, within a half hour I feel like crap. Okay, detox doesn't start in a half hour. You feel like crap because your body doesn't get along with it. Realize that your doctor or your practitioner may be completely wrong, and they're expecting you to react like their normal client-patient reacts. You might not be that person. If they aren't willing to work with you, then run away. Simple. Okay? So, Epsom salts. You can use Epsom salts to make a lot of the things I'm about to talk about. So Epsom salts can be used in magnesium foot soaks, which we'll talk about. Epsom salts can be used in magnesium baths. They can be used in, I had a guy, he didn't feel like he got along with magnesium chloride, but he knew he got along with Epsom salts. So he actually, we'll talk about this, he boiled water to get the Epsom salts to dissolve in it, because they don't like to dissolve in room temp water for whatever, it's just chemical reaction. Anyway, he made a spray out of Epsom salts. You can do that. So once you make it a magnesium oil or water and magnesium, or you make the Magahol, hi Rachel, or you make the Magahol, which is vodka, and you could try it with Epsom salts. I don't know, I haven't done it. I haven't needed to. I don't like Epsom salts, so I'm not going to mess around with that. But you could try Epsom salts for all these things. If you get along great with Epsom salts, go for it. Some people don't get along with the sulfur. If you don't get along with the sulfur, don't use it. Okay? So let's go into mag chloride. So we talked about Epsom salts. I mean, Epsom salts, they have them at Costco. You can buy them online. There's like road salts, like magnesium sulfate, that is used, or is it magnesium chloride? I think it's magnesium chloride, where you can buy it, where it's meant to be used for like road salting, like in the snow. That, I don't know how clean that is. The mag chloride flakes from like Zechstein and the other stuff that people are selling, and I'm going to guess the road salts that are magnesium chloride, those are not for ingesting. Okay, you can find magnesium chloride pills, and there's food grade magnesium chloride. We're going to talk about it. I like the food grade stuff better. I'm moving towards that, but all the prepared items, if you're too, well, honestly, the word is lazy. If you're too lazy to make your own magnesium products, like magnesium oil or Magahol, which are like 2 ingredients. And I'm going to use the word lazy here, because if you're too lazy to put 2 things together in a jar, then you're going to have to use the other stuff, which may have excess bromine in it. It may have tin, but it definitely has bromine in it. So don't be lazy. My gosh, buy a jar, mix 2 ingredients together, shake them up. It's not that hard. Mag chloride and Epsom salts. We talked about Epsom salts. Mag chloride, that's the standard stuff. If you're going to buy mag chloride, like if you're going to buy magnesium flakes, you think you're going to buy flakes, or you're going to buy magnesium chloride powder, which is the stuff I'm really moving towards. You want it to be food grade. Not just, so think of it this way. The stuff they're selling for baths, Zechstein, the other major brands out there, that's not food grade. They actually will imply on their website, you're not supposed to eat this. You don't put it in supplements. It's cloudy. They say it's cloudy when you mix it with, like, if you make magnesium oil or Magahol out of it, the reason it gets cloudy is because there's other stuff in there. That is why it's not food grade. So, food grade. So think of food grade is the best. Pharmaceutical grade is a level below, and then there's like Zechstein and the other general magnesium chloride powders. I'm going to go over the Magahol recipe. It's really easy. You can't buy it. Nobody's selling it. So where was I? Oh, so food grade. Greenway Biotech. Greenway, one word, Biotech, other word. They are the main sellers of food-grade magnesium chloride powder in the United States. This is what I'm moving people towards. Because when I've done the calculations, the food-grade magnesium chloride powder has a acceptable amount of bromine in it. Bromide, bromine, however you want to say it. Same basic thing. The other ones, the Zechstein, the Maglife, the other stuff that's out there has like 8 times as much bromine as is acceptable. So it is unacceptable in my world. My world. Like 8 times too high. 8 times higher than the food grade stuff. So, I'm moving people towards the Greenway Biotech stuff. I don't sell it. I wish I did, but they're not giving me any good deals. I'll send them shout-outs, but I would sell it, but they're not. They just want to sell it at their price, so whatever. Anyway, food grade. So if you're in another country and you're watching this, find food grade magnesium chloride powder. It doesn't seem to be as hard to find in other countries as it is here, which is weird, because usually the U.S. is easy to find stuff. Food grade. USP means pharmaceutical grade. Pharmaceutical grade is a level below. Pharmaceutical grade doesn't actually add that many tests or restrictions. So, food grade has lots of restrictions. They test for lots of things, and that's where they get the bromine out of it. All these thyroid websites love to obsess about bromine, and you've got bromism, and you've got bromine toxicity, and you need to do all these things to get rid of it. And they always say use colored sea salt, like pink salt or Celtic salt. Colored sea salts is what I call them. And they also say use tons of topical magnesium. I'm going to tell you that colored sea salts have tons of bromine in them, and not food grade magnesium chlorides, especially flakes or other magnesium pre-made magnesium products that are not made with food grade magnesium chloride, have tons of bromine in them. So they're sitting there telling people to do these things. They're obsessing about getting rid of bromine on one side, and they're giving them bromine all day long. Don't do that. The best way to detox is to stop intoxing, right? Best way to get rid of lead toxicity would be to stop putting lead in yourself. Seems easy, right? Best way to get rid of bromine so you're not stuck in a detox loop. Okay, so what's a detox loop? Let's just go into that real quick. A detox loop happens to people. People don't realize they're in it. But if you ever talk to somebody who says they're always detoxing, I'm always detoxing. Oh my gosh, I'm detoxing and I feel like crap all the time. Okay? Most of the time those people are doing something that's very unhealthy for them. They're not detoxing, they just feel like crap. They're just doing the wrong thing. But a detox loop would be like, let's say, as an example, alpha-lipoic acid and cilantro stir up mercury in the body. They don't necessarily detox it that well, but they stir it up. So if you don't have other things detoxing them, you just kick it all up from your tissues into your system, and then you feel like crap. Okay. So let's say somebody's got amalgam fillings. Mercury. You're getting mercury in your system every single day from amalgam fillings. They are off-gassing. You are breathing that in. You are absorbing it. Every time you chew, you're off-gassing. Every time you drink something hot, you're off-gassing. You are getting in mercury to your system every day. So you're intoxing every day from amalgam fillings. Okay. So if somebody starts taking alpha-lipoic acid or cilantro, it starts kicking up all this mercury dust into your system. So you're like detoxing at the same time as you're intoxing, and so you keep putting more mercury in because you got the amalgam fillings, but you're kicking it up at the same time, and so you just have this mercury mess floating around your system, and you're not getting rid of it. Kicking it up doesn't mean you get rid of it. And so then these people feel awful the whole time they're on alpha-lipoic acid or cilantro, and then eventually they quit because they just feel awful. Because they got stuck in a detox loop. They're constantly trying to detox as they're constantly intoxing. Don't get stuck in a detox loop. You have to remove the source of the toxicity before you start worrying about getting rid of it. You don't break your ankle and then try to do squats. Like, you got to fix the problem before you start making it stronger. You got to get rid of the toxic source before you start worrying about detoxing, or you just get stuck in a detox loop. Don't do that. Okay, so back to magnesium. We talked about the food grade stuff. Get the food grade stuff. Don't intox via your topical magnesium. Get rid of the bromine. Okay. Then Epsom salts. Epsom salts are generally I don't know if most Epsom salts are food grade. Honestly, I haven't looked into that yet. Most of the time, the only time people take Epsom salts internally is as a laxative because they're not really well absorbed. So people say, I take magnesium. If I take enough, I poop really good. Okay. Magnesium, if you take enough, it has a laxative effect. This is not... So think about this as two different things. There's a drug effect of magnesium. You can take enough magnesium that you force yourself to poop because your body says, what happens? You take enough magnesium, your body stops absorbing it. So a really poorly absorbed magnesium sits there. It doesn't get absorbed. It sits there, it pulls water to it, which is what any good salt does. So when we talk about salt, that's minerals, magnesium, potassium, sodium, anything. Sodium, you take enough sodium, you will poop your brains out, okay? If once you take enough salt, mineral salts of any type, and they sit in your gut long enough, they pull water to them, your body then says, look, I got all this mineral there, I don't want to absorb it, I got all this water now, let's just get it out. So that is how you cause diarrhea or bowel tolerance with magnesium. The more poorly absorbed the magnesium, the quicker you get to bowel tolerance, the quicker your body says, get this crap out of here. Okay. So when you see magnesiums that are used for, like, let's say prepping for a colonoscopy, magnesium oxide, magnesium citrate, these things, they're not very well absorbed. The whole point of taking them is to give you the runs, okay? So, will magnesium help you poop better? Probably. Getting your magnesium levels right helps all sorts of things. But forcing yourself to have diarrhea, not what we're after, okay? So just remember, there's the laxative effect and then there's the nutritional effect. The laxative effect is a drug effect. It's using a high dose to force the body to do something. The nutritional effect is getting the body to function correctly, okay? So now we go to the actual how to do transdermal stuff. Let me just make sure that before I go into all this stuff, Ruben had another question. He was talking about AFib and magnesium deficiency. Will magnesium help AFib? I'm going to go into, so I went on to PubMed, atrial fib, magnesium. I also went on and I typed in atrial fibrillation and potassium. I could probably go on there and find atrial fibrillation and sodium and atrial fibrillation and calcium. I could find relationships between all of them. Let me go back in a story that kind of led me into the mineral world and where I am today and how like my thinking process. So I remember in the early days of the internet, I was looking around the internet for like what causes cramps, muscle cramps. And I found people over the internet, some of them said, well, I take calcium before bed and that gets rid of my muscle cramps. And another person says, well, magnesium. If you don't have enough magnesium, you'll get muscle cramps. And then another person says, if you don't have enough potassium, you got to get more potassium. We give football players, we put cream of tartar, which is potassium bitartrate, in water, and you give that to them to drink. You give that to them to drink, and their cramps go away. And then another person says, oh, pickle juice, which is sodium, high in sodium. You give that to football players after their practice, and it'll stop their cramping. So I took away from that, from real people's, testimonials, anecdotes. Calcium can help cramps, or I should say, here's the way I think about it. A calcium deficiency can cause cramps. A magnesium deficiency can cause cramps. A potassium deficiency could cause cramps, and a sodium deficiency could cause cramps. So any of those might be the problem in a person. Which one is you? Well, you could try each one of them, or you might test and not guess, which is my motto. It's fairly easy to figure out once you test. And people could just take some of each one and see if it fixes it, and if it doesn't, then, hey, calcium is probably the least likely one to be causing cramps, because one of calcium's main functions in the body is to cause muscle contraction. So if people are getting cramps from a lack of calcium, they are really low in calcium and they have real problems. But most of the time, magnesium and potassium are going to be your big ones. And if you think of atrial fibrillation, the heart is contracting funny, you probably got magnesium and potassium problems. And I found plenty of studies on magnesium and potassium, both for atrial fib. So, Ruben, I don't have an easy answer. Is magnesium potentially related to somebody's atrial fib? Yes. Is potassium deficiency probably related to many people's atrial fib? Yes. Here's the other part of the research that I do know about. A magnesium deficiency, if it goes on long enough, will drag down potassium with it. And a potassium deficiency, if it goes on long enough, will drag down magnesium with it. So then which one is it? And sometimes, again with the testing not guessing, I've seen people where they take enough magnesium that they seem to start having potassium problems because it's like their magnesium's going up and it can't pull up their potassium. You see what's not happening? This is not rising with this. I've actually thought of making a magnesium to potassium ratio. I got too many things going on to put my brain power into that. But same thing with potassium. People start supplementing potassium, they don't get enough magnesium, and then they start seeing their magnesium problems show up more. So this is why we can't just, when people just megadose, or you'll see people on the internet, they'll be like, magnesium fixes every problem on earth. And I go, no. Is magnesium deficient in most people? Yes. Is it the only cause of everybody's problem? No. Same thing with iron overload. Same thing with vitamin C deficiency. These things are very much at the base of the pyramid. Everything else builds upon them. But can other things cause problems? Sure. My goodness. But nutrition is the foundation of everything, and nutrition is how your body fixes the damage, okay, of life. So now after that little rant, I'm going to head into the topical magnesium approaches. So baths. Magnesium baths. These are amazing. First of all, let's talk about hair testing in magnesium baths. If you take a magnesium bath and you get your hair in the water, and this goes for flotation tanks, sensory deprivation tanks, the flotation therapy too, because those have tons of magnesium in them. If you put your hair in a magnesium water, baths, tanks, whatever, and you don't wash it afterwards with soap or shampoo, I don't care about poo people, I use soap on my hair when I need to, which is pretty rare, but if I take a magnesium bath, I'm going to wash my hair afterwards, because if you don't wash it, your magnesium level on a hair test will be off the charts, and it won't let me know what your real magnesium level is. So, if you take a magnesium bath or a sensory deprivation tank soak, you need to wash your hair with soap or shampoo afterwards, or you'll basically ruin the magnesium level on your hair test because it'll be hidden. That's it. Can I still deal with it? Yeah. Would I still have you taking magnesium? Probably. I don't know of anyone who can maintain good magnesium levels without getting extra magnesium supplementally. I don't know of anybody. I have not seen it yet. So, baths. Warm water. A bath, usually 1 to 2 cups of Epsom salts. You can usually cut the dose down by about half from the Epsom salts to the magnesium chloride because it's just absorbed better. So with magnesium chloride flakes or powder, you could do about a half a cup to a cup. So Epsom salts, a cup to 2 cups. Mag chloride flakes, half a cup to a cup. People will talk about using magnesium oil in a bath. And I'm like, then you have to figure out how much magnesium is in it. Why not just use the straight stuff and let it dissolve? It's the same thing. So that's baths. Make it as warm as you can stand. However, let's talk about that. If your health is in a really rough spot, if you take baths that are too hot or showers that are too hot and you feel bad after a hot bath or a hot shower, it's too hot for you. So chill out on making it so hot. I mean, that's chill out on making it so hot. But anyway, don't make it so hot that you feel bad. Don't do things that make you feel bad. Like, okay, this is just a crazy thought. If you do things that are not helping you and are making you feel bad often, you're going to feel worse. Crazy thought, right? If you do things to your car that are hurting your car is going to break down sooner. Nobody says go drag race your car to make it run better. Don't. Think of machines. If you think of the human body as a machine that can fix itself, yes. And it has a finite amount of fixing itself, and if you don't put the right things in it, it's not going to work. If you think of it as a machine, I use a lot of car analogies because they work really well. So, don't run your car into the ground and then expect it, to run well. So that's baths. So, same thing with ice baths or, the trend with all the ice stuff. If your health is in a rough spot, if your recovery from insults in like the health aspect, if your recovery is not good and you find that doing ice baths, you're not getting more resilient to them, you're actually getting worse, don't. I don't care what Wim Hof says. You're not ready for it yet, okay? You break your ankle, you're not going to go in a trampoline contest, okay? Not yet. So think that's an important term. Maybe just not yet for you. The logic here is just crazy, okay? So, that's baths. So that also goes for sensory deprivation tanks or flotation therapy. These are tanks that are like 10 inches of water. There's like 700 to 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts in that water. It's never magnesium chloride. Nobody spends that much money. Epsom salts. If you don't get along with magnesium sulfate and you tried flotation tanks or sensory deprivation tanks and you felt like wired afterwards, not in a good way, you can't do Epsom salts. If you already know you can't do Epsom salts, don't go do sensory deprivation tanks. I can't do magnesium sulfate. I do a sensory deprivation tank. I will not sleep for 3 days. Don't. I'm pretty sensitive to sulfur now. There's a backstory to that. Anyway, I don't do well with certain sulfur things. And so you should figure out what works for you, what types of things works for you, because everybody needs magnesium. Everybody. Food is best. Food doesn't work for everybody, so supplement and find the supplement that works for you. I know, crazy. The same supplement, just because one doctor on his blog post said that magnesium threonate crosses the blood-brain barrier and it's the best one for everybody. And then I get a client back who says, I tried magnesium threonate. I was having murderous dreams. Like, my dreams were just crazy and I can't handle it. Don't take magnesium threonate. I don't give a crap what the doctor said on his blog post. Okay? Use your brain. You don't feel good, you don't get along with something, don't take it. I don't know how many times have I said that this time. Magnesium's a big thing to say this on because everybody needs it. But the extra part on the magnesium, people react differently to. Glycine makes a lot of people feel great. Glycine ruins some people. They don't feel good on it. So glycinate, magnesium glycinate, some people don't get along with it. Don't use it. Okay, foot soaks. Foot soaks are great. Oh, onto the magnesium baths. Back to that. Magnesium baths or foot soaks in terms of how my clients get dosed on it. I've seen on hair tests if people do 2 magnesium baths or more a week, or 2 proper foot soaks or more a week, their magnesium levels get really good really fast. 20 minutes long, foot soak or bath, and the right amount in the bath or the foot soak. So foot soaks are kind of cool because obviously a lot less water. You use less magnesium. So if you think of the things I gave you for the bath, cut those in half for the foot soak. So if we're talking about Epsom salts in the bath, 1 to 2 cups. So Epsom salts in a foot soak, half a cup to a cup. Magnesium chloride in a foot soak, in a bath, we were talking about magnesium chloride, a half a cup to a cup. So a foot soak is like a 1/4 cup to a half a cup. It's a lot less water. Again, as warm a water as you can stand, because the warmer the water, the more the magnesium dissolves and the better you're going to absorb it. But don't burn your feet. Okay, don't take a bath that burns you. Don't do that. Just because I said as hot as you can stand doesn't mean burn yourself, okay? So, foot soaks. The cool thing about foot soaks is you can leave them. You don't have to empty out the foot soak every time. I mean, geez, if you put a half a cup of magnesium chloride flakes in there, I'm going to tell you, you didn't absorb all those. Most of those are still in the water. And stuff is not going to grow in water that has all that magnesium chloride in it. If you're worried about it, heck, put some colloidal silver in the water. Put some iodine in the water. Nothing's going to grow in that water. Pull out the foot soak again. Maybe dump out a little of the water. You know, heat up your kettle on the stove. Pour some new hot water in it so it's nice and hot and comfortable for your feet. Do another foot soak. Like, you could do this multiple times. You don't need to waste all that magnesium, because doing foot soaks or baths, you'll run through your magnesium chloride very, very quickly. They're great, but you'll use a lot of magnesium. So I like the topicals, the lotions, the oils, well, I don't like Mag Oil that much. We'll talk about that. And the Magahol spray, I love that. We'll talk about those more. So, okay. So we did baths and foot soaks. So back to sensory deprivation tanks and flotation tanks. If you did 1 of those a week, that would pretty much cover your magnesium needs, because you're in there for, 60 minutes. Some places are 90 minutes. Some places might even be 2 hours. So if you do 1 of those a week, you're going to be good. But I mean, those are like $50 or $60 a pop. So maybe you can't afford that for your magnesium. But flotation tanks, sensory deprivation tanks, I was able to do them at one time before I messed up my sulfur metabolism doing experimentation with megadoses of MSM. Anyway, I used to call them meditation on steroids. I loved those things. Any insomnia problem I had, I'd go and I'd float 1 time in 2 days straight, and the insomnia was gone for a solid month. Love them. I can't do them. So, deal with it. Magnesium oil. Let's go into magnesium oil. So if you think of magnesium oil as a really highly concentrated magnesium bath water in a spray bottle that you're going to put on your skin, that's really what magnesium oil is. Magnesium oil, like I said this earlier, there's no oil in it. It is a simple combination of water and magnesium chloride. That's it. There's no oil. People are starting to add aloe vera and other things to soothe the skin from the magnesium oil, because if you think of magnesium oil as super high concentration salt water, but the magnesium seems to have a little bit more of an irritant nature to it than regular salt. Magnesium oil will tend to, once you add too much to your skin, obviously kids have more sensitive skin than adults, so kids are going to be even less able to use this than adults. Too much magnesium chloride oil on the skin, irritation, stinging, itching, tingling. People don't like it very much. Consider the magnesium oil the last recommendation I would do. I wanted to talk about it early because I want to make sure people know my stance on this, because everybody reads my stuff and they go, oh, magnesium oil is one of the ones listed. I'll use it. I don't like it very much, but everybody picks to do it. So, 20 to 40 sprays a day of most magnesium oils out there is good. How to make your own? Hopefully this isn't too much. You get a jar, ball jar, right? Mason jar, right? This is a quart one, liter, close to a liter, right? You add equal volumes of magnesium flakes and water to it. I would use distilled water. So when I say equal volumes, we're talking about if you add a cup of water, or we're going to do for you metric folks, we'll say 250 mils of water, or about 8 ounces, right? You would add, by volume, 8 ounces, which is about a cup, of flakes. So you'd fill up a cup of flakes and you'd mix it in here with the water. Shake it up. Let it sit. Shake it up again. Let it sit. Shake it up again. Once it's all dissolved, it's dissolved. The warmer the water, the quicker it'll dissolve. But do you have to heat the water? No, it'll dissolve anyway. So, very simple. So when you buy magnesium oil in a bottle, you're paying for somebody else to take magnesium flakes and mix it with water for you. And you're probably paying 4 times as much as it would cost you to make at home, to mix 2 things. This is what I would do: is I would make it in here, and I would pour it into one of those spray bottles. You know, the plastic spray pump bottles, like the hairspray bottles. You know, you could buy magnesium oil once to use it up, and then you'll have a spray bottle forever, and you just put this in it. Use a funnel. Anyway, that's magnesium oil. I don't like it very much because everybody complains. Well, that's why I don't like it. I don't use it, and everybody tries it first, even though it's like usually towards the end of my list of stuff, and they all try it and they don't like it. And then they say, I quit using it. And I say, there was 5 other options on there. Why'd you quit? Pick a different one. Don't do that. So, anyway, I have a lot of frustration with topical magnesium. So, mag oil. It's cheap. It's easy. Cheap and easy things usually don't work the best. Okay, so, kind of like fast food. Fast food's cheap and easy. Yeah, what does that do for your nutrition? So, Magahol. Okay, Magahol, you can look it up online. I'm going to give you the recipe later. But Magahol is a very simple combination. So we just told mag oil, water, magnesium chloride flakes. Mix. Use. Very easy, right? Do I need to write down these instructions? I hope not. Equal volumes to make mag oil. Now we're going into Magahol. Magahol is a simple combination of cheap vodka. Do not buy like Grey Goose to make this. It's actually said that the cheaper the vodka, the more they distill it to get everything out of it, because they just want the vodka. The more expensive the vodka, the more they want the fancy flavors. And can you taste the note of that and whatever? Okay, it's alcohol. You're using it to drink, right? Anyway, cheap vodka is more filtered, is probably more clean than the fancy vodkas. And people will say this, they'll say, oh, cheap vodka, I don't get as bad a hangover as expensive vodka because the expensive vodka has all the things left in it. So, cheap vodka, I buy Kirkland, Costco stuff. And magnesium chloride. Mix, use. What's the mixture ratio? Again, our jar, I brought a jar here specially for this. So, the same concept. Doesn't matter whether you're talking about ounces or cups or mils or whatever. Right here, this is about what I'd probably do if I was at home. 400 milliliter mark. You would fill that up with vodka. Then, so do I have an amount of magnesium you would add to this? No. 400 mils of vodka. You would then start adding magnesium powder flakes to it until you have doubled the total volume. So you start at 400. Let's do the math. You would add magnesium flakes until you get up to 800. Well, I do the Merkin system, Doc. Okay, 1 cup vodka. You put in 1 cup of vodka. You would add magnesium flakes until it goes up to 2 cups. Hopefully that math is, you're at that level of math. Double the volume. Now, you could go further than this. You could add magnesium until it doesn't dissolve anymore, but you have to listen to this. This is alcohol that you're mixing in. It doesn't mix as fast as the water, and it's not heat. Don't heat up your vodka. You'll just evaporate it all, okay? You'll evaporate all the alcohol. You're not trying to do that. You want the alcohol. So, it takes longer to dissolve. So seriously, this is what you do. You put your flakes in there, do your volume, double that with the mag flakes. Then, you're going to shake it. Maybe you're sitting on the computer. Shake it up. Get a real mix. Set it down. Do an email. Look over. Oh, it's all settled. Shake it up again. Set it down. Do another email. Shake it up again. Okay, this is not hard. It will dissolve. It just takes a while. Maybe 10 minutes of shake, set, okay? You can go to the point of getting it super saturated. If you don't know what super saturated means, it means you would put so much magnesium in this Magahol that you could not dissolve anymore. It stops dissolving and it just sits at the bottom, and no matter how much shaking or how much time you have, it doesn't dissolve. That's going to be the strongest Magahol you can make, so if you have sensitive skin, you might not like this. Now, let me tell you about the Magahol. Every problem that I mentioned with the magnesium oil, which could be the tingling, the itching, the stinging, the burning, oftentimes what people will get with the mag oil is it will dry on their skin and it will leave like a white powder. So that's magnesium you didn't absorb. Okay? The Magahol fixes nearly all of those problems. It absorbs better. It is not as irritating. It is more soothing to the skin. It doesn't make any sense. You'd think vodka would be more irritating than water. I'm not a chemist. What I do know is the Magahol works better in terms of absorption. I always know when people use Magahol on their hair test because their magnesium level is good. If they use it regularly, their magnesium level is good. That's what I know. So, Magahol, if you're willing to make and are you going to go to work and have vodka on your breath? No. We're talking about 20 to 40 sprays of magnesium, Magahol. So same dose. Oil is 20 to 40 sprays if you use it, which I'm not advising that much. Magahol, 20 to 40 sprays a day. Then we do the hair tests, and then we get to see if that's enough for you. We get to basically say, one of the common questions I do on my consults, Skype or phone, I'm looking at the hair test, I see where the magnesium is, I see where the calcium is, I'm relating them, I say, what are you taking for oral magnesium and what are you doing for topical magnesium? Do people have to do both? If people do topical magnesium, the 2 key words here, consistently and aggressively. If they do topical magnesium consistently and aggressively, they almost never need to use oral magnesium. That's how bad the oral magnesium is. The topical will just wipe it off the map if it's done consistently and aggressively. So if people are like, yeah, I'm doing the topical magnesium, and I say, how often? And they go, once a week. I do 10 sprays. No, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. Actually, let me back off one sec to, there are people who don't get along with magnesium chloride. They are out there. If you are one of them and you don't get along with magnesium chloride, some people say it just even during the day, they put some magnesium chloride on their skin and it just puts them to sleep. Not in a good way. That's not good. Okay? So, again, I don't feel good when I do this, Doc. Well, don't do that. It's very simple. Don't let anyone tell you differently. People will go through, I actually posted about detox and retracing yesterday, and people go through it. And they don't feel good during that. But the key difference here is if you take a pill and that day you feel bad, that's not good for you. If you're on my program, I'm not vouching for anybody else's program here. You're doing my program and you're feeling better. Wow, I feel better. This is going away. I feel this is less. This is good. And then all of a sudden you're doing all the same stuff, but something gets worse. That's detox or retracing, not retox or detracing. Anyway, there's differences, and this is why it can be really helpful to have a practitioner you can talk to about this stuff, who's not just like I had a woman who worked with the biggest name out there in hair analysis, who had been feeling worse and worse and worse for 5 years. Almost lost her marriage. That's not good. At what point with a practitioner do you say, because I've had people who worked with the same practitioner, one quit after a year of feeling worse and worse and worse, one quit after 2 years of feeling worse and worse and worse, one person quit after 5 years of feeling worse and worse and worse. At what point should that practitioner say, you should be feeling better by now, or we're doing the wrong thing? It was like a guy, there was a guy on The Biggest Loser. He was the dad of one of the women who was on The Biggest Loser. He was 500 pounds. And they were doing the little family stories and the little, tear-jerker things. And he said, at some point, I just lost control. Okay. Valid. Was that at 200 pounds? Was that at 300 pounds? Was that at 400 pounds? Or was it at 500 pounds? At what point do you say what you're doing isn't working? So, and if I see people, if we're doing stuff on a hair program and stuff is not working, we try to change things. We do not bang our head against the same damn wall and wonder why our head still hurts. We change things. People I've seen who have been with me a long time, they have seen my programs change because it has evolved. I have seen what works for people and what doesn't work for people. I've seen what causes more, when people do react to supplements, I watch for that, and I watch for what supplements are people reacting to, and is that percent of people that's reacting to it acceptable? Because there's always going to be people who react to everything. But if most people are getting along with it and it's helping a lot of people, then I'm going to stick with that. But that person who's reacting badly to it, I'm going to say, you stop that, and let's see if we can find something different for you. Crazy thoughts, right? I don't know why I don't hear more people saying, my doctor does this. My doctor totally does this. He hears me say, I don't feel good, and he stops me from doing that. I don't get it. Anyway, that's Magahol. Magahol. Other things you can do with Magahol. Topical turmeric. Transdermal turmeric. Curcumin's the active ingredient, but turmeric. Turmeric you can add to Magahol. And alcohol extracts of turmeric have been shown to really work. Get through the skin better. Kind of like magnesium. Okay. So, the ratio I've seen, if you're a sensitive person, you might start with 1 tablespoon of turmeric to 8 ounces of Magahol, made Magahol. Okay? 8 ounces is, that's like about 250 mils for the metric folks. Tersha, I think you had your question. Let me pull this up on my computer so I can see all the comments. Tersha, I talked about the magnesium and the hair test levels. Magnesium baths or flotation tanks, anytime people get magnesium in their hair, it will show up on a hair test later if they do not wash it out of their hair while their hair is still wet. What happens, how do mineral deposits happen in the hair? Sorry, I can hear my voice talking on the Facebook Live. I'm watching myself. You gotta wash it out of your hair when it's still wet. Or else if it dries, it will, just like calcium deposits will form on things. If you boiled water on your stove and you boiled all the water off and there's a calcium deposit in there because you got hard water, then you would that calcium deposit would be there. So the same thing happens in the hair. Anything magnesium dries in the hair, the water leaves, the magnesium stays. It forms a crust or a scale, and that will show up on a hair test. It will ruin the magnesium on a hair test. You just won't be able to tell where it is. Would I still, as I was talking about earlier, would I still have the person take magnesium? Absolutely. I can't pause my own live thing that I got on the screen here. Anyway, so yes, so we want to, if you ever get magnesium of any type in your hair, you want to wash it out. I've had people where they rub the magnesium oil on the back of their neck, and then on the hair test I get, it looks like contamination of magnesium. They never took a bath. It was just that what they got on their hand. And also, you apply your magnesium with your hands, right? So especially, you know, when I don't have to do my hair too much, if you can tell. I don't have too much hair to do. But you get magnesium on your hands from lotion or Magahol or Mag Oil or whatever, and then you go and you do your hair and you haven't washed your hands, you could absolutely contaminate your hair with magnesium. Is it the end of the world? Not for me. I'm going to have you on magnesium anyway. So, it just, I can't tell how well it's working for you. That's the problem. So, let me see. Talked about, I got to your thing, Tertia, I think. Kathy, is Magahol less absorbed if you have dry skin? I could tell you any topical magnesium you put on really dry skin is probably not going to feel good. Anything, obviously, things move better through fluids, so dry skin would have less fluids in it, so it's probably not going to work as well. But just because things don't work as well doesn't mean they're not going to work. And it's quite possible that magnesium could help with various things that might cause dry skin. Magnesium could help with thyroid function. Magnesium could help with blood sugar function. Funny thing, magnesium helps with blood sugar function. I saw the other day a Gold Bond diabetes lotion for this. Apparently diabetics have special dry skin and they need a special lotion. Anyway, so obviously there's a connection potentially between magnesium and dry skin of diabetes. Magnesium's definitely linked to diabetes. So, on to, so that's Magahol. Magahol is the best. Oh, we're on to magnesium lotion. Oh, I don't know if I finished the turmeric thing. 1 tablespoon of turmeric per 8 ounces or 250 mils of Magahol. 2 tablespoons of turmeric to every 8 ounces or 250 mils of Magahol if you're a person who doesn't seem to be sensitive to things. And so let me talk about sensitivity things here. If you're sitting there going, I don't know if I'm sensitive to things. I don't know. How do I know that? If you don't know it, you're not sensitive. If you're sensitive, you know it. It's as simple as that. As soon as I ask people if they're sensitive or not to supplements or medications or herbs or whatever, if they don't answer me within about 3 seconds, they're not sensitive. When you're sensitive, you know it. So and sensitive people is what I deal with best because I actually try to adjust around it. Mag lotion. Just before I forget, the do-it-yourself mag lotion recipe. You would Google, I don't have the link, I'm not going to put a link up in a Facebook Live. Modern Alternative Mama Magnesium Lotion. Modern Alternative Mama Magnesium Lotion. You'll find the recipe. It's a very simple recipe. But it does have more ingredients than Magahol or Mag Oil. It does have like 5 ingredients. I believe they were shea butter, avocado oil, some bee wax, and then beeswax, sorry, I forgot the S. Beeswax, and then in the recipe they talk about magnesium oil. I use Magahol. Magahol is better than Mag Oil, and you put it in the lotion, and if you put turmeric in there, booyah! It is like the best thing ever. So, that's what I made turmeric magnesium. I made turmeric Magahol lotion at my house. I need to make a big new batch now because I have some thoughts on how I can improve it. I'm always trying to do that. So, magnesium lotion. Again, if you're going to make your own, you get the Greenway Biotech food grade, other food grade magnesium chloride powder is the best. It has the least bromine. If you didn't catch that, go back to the start of this video. And then you would make either Magahol or double strength mag oil. They talk about that in the recipe. So you make, instead of the 1-to-1 of the mag oil, you would do twice as much magnesium and to the same amount of water. So it's a double strength mag oil. And then you just make the lotion. You just heat these things on the stove in a pan so they all melt together. And then you put it in a jar. It's easy. The other magnesium lotion that I like, if you're not one to make your own magnesium lotion because 5 ingredients and putting it in a pan is too much, Life Flow lotion is the best. I have people asking me about the Mo Maggie lotion. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. I don't like calling magnesium Maggie either. That's just a personal thing of mine. I don't like doing that. So, you want a clean lotion? I do not like the Ancient Minerals lotion. People get all the problems of magnesium oil. They get the same problems with that lotion. Tingling, stinging, itching, burning. Their children are like crying in their bed saying, "Get this crap off of me." Don't use Ancient Minerals lotion is what I would say to people. I don't like it. It did not work for my clients. It did not work for me. Did not work for my kids. Did not work for my clients. The Life Flow lotion works for me. It works for my kids. It works for my clients. So if you're going to do a lotion, you want a pre-made product. The Life Flow lotion is great. I didn't go over the places yet. So, Life Flow lotion. Life Flow is made with the Zechstein stuff. So when I'm talking about the bromine stuff, and you say, but you talked about the Zechstein as having bromine, and then you're talking about using Life Flow lotion, but that uses the Zechstein. Did you catch what I said? People who aren't going to make their own lotion are going to have to use something that's pre-made, and something that's pre-made is going to be Zechstein for the most part. So you're going to get the bromine if you want to be lazy. It's just the way it is. It's not the end of the world. The bromine is not the end of the world. People on my program are doing tons of things to get rid of bromine. You're not on my program, you're not doing all the things you need to do to get rid of bromine. So that might be more of a concern for you. I think that's all the sources. So let's talk about let's talk about lotion. How much lotion should I put on, Doc? Do I need to measure it with a little, teaspoon? No. No, no. You're going to cover a certain amount of area. Okay? I'm going to give you some basics so you can get a feel for it. The best areas to absorb any magnesium you put on your body, the best places are places that do not naturally grow hair. Okay? So like for me, inside of my arm might be a good one. There's no hair on the inside of my arm. Top of my shoulders. My chest has hair. Probably not a great area. Inside your thighs might be a good area. And women. Okay, let's talk women or anyone else who shaves large areas of their body. No judgment. If you put magnesium oil or Magahol, or you take a strong magnesium bath or a sensory deprivation tank bath, and you just shaved, you're not going to like that. Or you're going to have a bad time. Okay? Don't. This is like salt water, like really strong salt water. So if you shave your face and you're like, oh, I'm going to use magnesium oil as aftershave, you're not going to have a good time. Don't put, like if you're a day or two, like if you're here with your not shaving, this is fine. Ladies, it's getting winter time. If your legs are starting to, sprout, and you're a couple days past shaving, you're fine. But if you just shaved, oh no, don't do that. They keep Vaseline at sensory deprivation tank places, or something like Vaseline, like petroleum, because let's say you go there and that day you shaved, or your face, your legs, or whatever else you're shaving, they will have you have to coat it because you get that magnesium water, 10 inches of water, 700 to 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts in that water. Oh, it doesn't feel good. I'll put it that way. I've had a little bit of that when I shaved, and I thought I tried out. It did not feel good. So don't do that. Where were we? So hairless areas are the best, but in terms of that, how much magnesium lotion to use, my general guidelines to give you an idea of how much area to cover. Chest plus stomach, okay? So we're talking like, I'm going to lift up here. Chest plus stomach. Rub enough lotion to cover this area. For those of you with known sensitive nipples or possibly sensitive nipples, I've had some people say that the mag oil on their nipples was really rough for them. They noticed it very quickly. That didn't bother me. So the sensitive nipple thing, in terms of magnesium, that's you. I don't know. You'll have to see. But is it a problem? I mean, no, you just clean it off. You just get a rag and clean it off. Okay. So, or you could do your back. So you could do shoulder blades to your butt, right? Same amount of area. This area is the same as this area, okay? Or, because that's kind of hard, people will say, well, I can't do my back myself. Stomach plus your lower back. See how that's about the same amount of area, right? You're catching a trend here. Now, I have, hair on my chest. I don't want to be rubbing oil or lotion all up in my chest hair. It's just not fun. So, what I do to approximate the same amount of area is I do my whole shoulder area, and I do my whole inner arm and up into my elbow. If you have joints that are issue joints for you, problem joints for you in the past or now or whatever, the first place you should always put the topical magnesium is on your problematic joints every day. Okay? So I would do, this is hairless, right? Hairless, I absorb real well right here. Hairless on my elbow. Shoulders hairless. Other shoulder. Inside of the arm. The Magahol or the Mag Oil can be used as a deodorant. It actually, okay, if you have body odor on a regular basis, you have a magnesium deficiency. You have a lot of foot odor, you probably have a really bad magnesium deficiency. You start doing topical magnesium, you will probably see the body odor go away. I'm totally honest here. Totally. This happens. I fell off the boat. Don't think that I'm perfect. I fell off the boat on my topical magnesium for a long time because I was trying to experiment with that magnesium threonate, and I was trying to, have it only be one variable. So I took out the topical magnesium. I was just doing the threonate and some magnesium ascorbate. The two magnesium ascorbate, magnesium bound to vitamin C, which I really like, and magnesium threonate together could not keep my magnesium level up. So what happened? I slowly developed the body odor again that goes along with magnesium deficiency. It just slowly crept up. I start my it was in the past, but I started my topical magnesium again. Within a day, 90% of the body odor, the next day, 90% of the body odor was gone. Go Google magnesium body odor and find out how many people talk about it. It's out there. It's real. So, when we're talking about mag oil or Magahol, where to apply that? Basically anywhere other than the shaved areas. Very simple. Best places, hairless areas. So that's that. Let me see. Rachel, I don't have any opinion on Pure Vitality minerals. I don't use them. Tertia, will mag oil or mag lotion work on the face? You can try it. I've had some people tell me it caused them to break out. It's try it and see. Do I think there's going to be any magical magnesium effect on wrinkles on the face? No. Just a concept to get into is when you see old people of other cultures, like if you look at the Blue Zones people, the 100-year-olds, they all have wrinkles, and if you ask them, You care about your wrinkles, most of them will I'm sure nearly all of them will be like, no, it's just normal, it's part of life. So when we have this concept of like not wrinkling and not aging and having white teeth, super bright white teeth, these are not natural things. Here's the concept. If something is not natural to humans, then that would mean by definition it is unnatural. And so if we are trying to do unnatural things to our body, like maintain super bright white teeth, or not wrinkle, or not age, we may actually be doing things that are unhealthy. Case in point, go and look up all the anti-aging doctors who are dying in their 50s and 60s. They're not doing it right. Sorry. We had a big testosterone doc here die in his late 50s, early 60s, and I hear about it all the time. One of the biggest names I followed in testosterone replacement therapy had a heart attack on the treadmill, I think in his late 50s. The anti-aging docs are dying early. Maybe they're doing the wrong thing. Maybe they should talk to the Blue Zones people and not be putting everybody on human growth hormone and testosterone and estrogen and all these things, because they're just treating symptoms. Okay? So, okay, Will, I think I got to that. Tersha, I got to that. Will, I got to your MAGA Hall question. So if anybody has any questions on topical mag, I mean, I covered a lot of stuff here, so if I missed it, I'm happy to get to it. But, so here's another thought. Doc, I put mag oil on my, well, okay, people will say, put it on the bottom of your feet. Okay. I don't know about the absorption on the bottom of your feet. My assumption, I will always say assumption, because when you make an assumption, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me most times. So, my assumption, when I look at the bottom of the feet, many of you people out there can go with me on this. The skin on the bottom of your feet is often thick and rough and hard, right? Compare that to the inside of your arm, nice and soft. Which do you think would absorb something better? Crusty bottom of your feet or nice soft skin? I'm going to go with the soft skin, not crusty feet with a bunch of dead skin around there and just stuff that it has to fight through. So, my assumption. Next, let's talk about safety. They call it magnesium oil, right? Oil is not rough. Oil is slick. Putting magnesium oil on your feet may not be a great idea if you don't want to slip and break your face open, okay? So no, I don't put magnesium oil on the bottom of my feet. No, I wouldn't put it on my feet and then put socks over it, because then the socks just soak it up. No, just put it somewhere else. Put it on the top of your feet. Top of your feet usually doesn't have a lot of hair, and it's pretty smooth and soft skin. Hey, then you won't slip and break your face, and you'll have it on soft skin, okay? I don't know about those foot detox pads either. That sounds like hokey stuff to me, but I'm always open to things that work. If they can show me that they work, and if they can show me that in those pads there's heavy metals in those pads that were not there before, which most of the time they can't, I would believe it. I'm open to all sorts of things, especially when they can scientifically show that there's something behind it. And if they can't, but it just works. You know, somebody told me, well, they haven't scientifically proven that you need to drink water yet. And I'm like, but if people don't drink water, they die. I don't need a study to show me, you know, driving a car into another car is a bad idea. Okay? So you got to use your brain and combine that with science. So I think, let me see, Layla, I see your comment, but I'm not sure where it is. And my computer's being kind of slow. Oh, that's an old post. So, I don't see any other questions about topical magnesium, so we'll go into other topics like this. Bottom line, too long didn't read version. which is at the end of the video, which could have been at the front, but no one has good magnesium levels without supplementing. If you ate foods all day to get magnesium, based on the levels that they told you, probably based on studies that are 10 years old, so I'm going to tell you that in 10 years the magnesium levels of all those foods is much lower than it was. Anyway, nobody gets enough magnesium from food. Sorry. I wish the food was better. It sucks. It sucks for everybody. Maybe if you're on like some bio, I forget the name of those farms, but if you want to go live on a farm in Costa Rica and grow biodynamic vegetables and you're sure you're getting all the stuff from it, cool. I live in a city. I'm not going to be getting that food anytime soon. Most of my clients are living in cities. So if you're living in cities, your food probably sucks, even if it's organic. There's no magnesium in it. When you hear about NPK fertilizers, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, there's no magnesium in there, is it? So, there's no magnesium. So you're going to need to supplement. Okay. Pills don't work very well. They work a little bit. They don't work very well. Topical magnesium is the best. Figure one out. Do it consistently and aggressively. I gave the guidelines through here. Use it. Making your own products. It's like homemade cooking. Homemade cooking is always better for you and tastes better than restaurants for the most part. Or at least you're more interested in the ingredients you use at home. Chefs and restaurateurs don't care about the ingredients they use. They just want it to taste good. So the sheep come back for something that tastes good. You want good nutrition, you want good magnesium products, you make it at home with food-grade magnesium chloride. You heard it here first, okay? So, that's all I have. I don't see anything else on the feed, so thanks for coming. This was long enough. I will, let me do my normal closing. My name is Dr. Gareth Smith. I am a licensed naturopathic physician in the state of Arizona. I am a doctor. I am not your doctor unless you are working with me. I do Skype, I do email, I do phone, international clients. We make it work. But if you decide to take any of the recommendations off this video, well, I'm not really even saying they're recommendations. I'm saying these are guidelines. These are things that I do. And you decide to institute them in your own life. That is on you. That is your own risk. I am not telling you to do anything. Even with my clients, you should hear this. I don't tell people what to do. I'm like a mentor. I'm like, these are things you might want to look into, and these are things you might want to try out. And then when people try them out and they say, that doesn't work for me, then I say, then we move this direction. I'm more like a teacher. My old website used to be doctorasteacher.com. I am teaching people how to deal with their health, because if you want somebody who just comes into your life and says, the perfect thing for you and everybody else who I decide to do is this and this and this and this, or if you ever think that there's doctors out there who don't have failure patients, you're wrong. Your job in this, sack of meat with a soul is to figure out what works for your physical body right now. I can have a good idea of it. I have a pretty good idea, and that's why I do the testing, is to look inside the body, because I can't always trust what comes out of people's mouths. Because nobody knows everything about their body, and people are only going to tell the doctor what they think the doctor wants to hear. So, we do the testing. It is for the people who love the word co-creation, we are trying to co-create your health. It takes two people. So if I were to give somebody a supplement and they try that supplement and they don't feel good and they said, oh my gosh, Dr. Smith doesn't know what he's talking about, I'm going to quit, then they get nothing out of their future, because I could just say, oh, yeah, that's happened to a couple people before. Why don't you try this one instead? That usually works. But they didn't email me. So anyway, you're in charge of your own health. I'm like a guide. So, my contact info, nutritionrestored.com. Julie, my office manager extraordinaire, treat her well. Oh man, I've kicked people out of the practice for not treating Julie well, so don't go there. Admin@nutritionrestored.com, and our phone number 520-577-6888. I'm getting a question right here. Let me see. Let me click on this. Oh, I can't right now. Let me see. Jacqueline, I see your comment. I'm trying to find it. Why can't I see it? Anyway, so it's talking about menopausal women starving and working out and trying to stay like they were. I'm assuming I see try to. That's where it ends. So I'm guessing trying to look like they were in their 20s. Okay, here's the reality. Here's the truth. Aging is a bitch. Aging happens to everybody. Think about this. What if aging is part of the lessons we're supposed to learn here in this life? And we're supposed to get okay with the physical body deteriorating because we're really a soul in a physical meat sack. And the meat sack ends at some point. The meat sack ages. So learn to be happy with how you are. I'm trying to help it. I'm trying to help this whole process. I don't think about anti-aging. Because like when people are like, we're going to fight the war on cancer. And I'm like, cancer's part of your system. Your body made that cancer. So maybe fighting a war on cancer is a war on yourself. Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe people shouldn't get angry when they work out because they're using their anger to drive their workout, and anger tends to cause bad things in their body. So they might be thinking they're doing a good thing by exercising, but they're getting angry to do it. Okay, deep thoughts here. Let me see if I can get into this, because it's just not letting me see the comments as they scroll down the screen, and my phone doesn't have as much screen to see this. But anyway, you can send me. Oh, sorry. One last thing. There's a 23andMe special until the Thursday, the 23rd. 23andMe is a saliva genetic test. And if you were going to work with me, I look at the iron overload genetics to tell how hard people are going to have to work to keep iron overload from becoming a problem. When people have iron overload genetics, they have to work a lot harder to prevent health problems from iron. Can people get iron overload without the genetics? Oh yeah, absolutely. So the genetics just tell us how much harder one has to work. So they're having a special of $49 each for 2 tests. You got to buy, so it's like 2 for 1, you know, kind of thing. $49, you got to buy 2 tests, but it's $49 for both. So $49, $49, $98. Okay, 2 tests. 23andMe, let's talk about them just for a second. They're the biggest genetic testing out there. They recently changed they call it a chip that they use to analyze the DNA. They used to do about 30 genes that I used for hemochromatosis, for iron overload, genetic iron overload, or that are related to iron metabolism. Their new chip, they said, was to better measure global diversity. I don't know what global diversity in genetics exactly means. I hear social justice in there. And you know what they did? I think they went to a cheaper chip, and they only test about 15 of the genes that I used to use for iron overload now. Do I think it's some conspiracy to not show iron overload? No. I think they just went to a cheaper chip that tests a lot less stuff. So I'm not as keen on 23andMe. It's still probably the best one out there. How did they drop their price from $99 to $49? You go to a cheaper chip. Oh my gosh. Got to cut corners somewhere to cut your prices, for the most part. And the other thing about 23andMe, I'll be honest about this, that I don't like. First of all, Google. Let's talk about Google. Google's slogan, do no evil. This is like a politician saying, You can trust me. That's a bad sign. Okay? So, Google's slogan, do no evil. Who would say that except somebody who might be doing evil things? Anyway, 23andMe's one of their co-founders is one of the Google founders' wives. Google wants to have all the information on the internet. 23andMe is assembling genetic information. That'd be a heck of a thing to have a husband and wife collaborate on and give each other all that information. So, you want to do 23andMe? Some things you might do so that they don't really know that they have your genetic data. You might pay for it with a credit card. You know, you go buy one of those disposable credit cards at the store. Pay for it with that. Get a separate email account. Maybe you use a fake name to set up that email account. And then use the fake name for the 23andMe. As long as you're doing the fake stuff, you change the birth date too. Change the birth date, change the name. Use a different credit card. How in the world are they going to trace that back to one person? So, if you want to protect yourself, do those things. I know with my family, I haven't used the right name on any person, and I haven't used the right birth date on any person. So, it's just a safe, not sorry. So if you think it's weird and you go, well, I don't trust that anymore, I don't want to do that, that's fine. In my treatment plans, I work on iron overload. We do blood tests to assess your current status of iron overload. We do the hair test to look at, that calcium and magnesium and sodium, potassium. We do the hair test to look at most of the minerals. We do some basic blood tests. I mean, I want to let you know, maybe you've been to other doctors of whatever type. You go there and you walk out of their first visit and they want to drop $400 to $500 of blood work on you, in addition to their visit cost, and in addition to their follow-up visit cost, and in addition to whatever. Though then there might be $300 of supplements thrown on top of $500 of labs and a $200 consult, and you're like out $1,000 right away. That's a lot. The iron blood tests, if people run them through me, it's 5 tests, $53. My whole goal was to figure out what is the minimum amount of tests and the minimum amount of money in terms of testing that we can get by with to get the most information. $53 of blood tests will give me tons of information on iron, which is driving most disease today. Like one of my clients who's going to watch this, I know, he sent me some stuff today on, I had been noticing when people were detoxing iron that zinc deficiency symptoms were starting to show up. He sent me a link today about zinc protoporphyrin, which is the direct connection between zinc and heme, which is the iron that's in your hemoglobin. And now I'm going down a big rabbit hole of zinc and its connection to iron deficiency in the red blood cells and iron overload practically everywhere else. So it's fun. This is the co-creating your health, because I have a client who just opened my eyes to something that I had been starting to see, a connection, and then he pointed me in the direction of the research to help that sent me down the rabbit hole. So that's what I was doing this morning, in addition to answering emails and doing charts. So, as usual, I've talked long past when I said I was going to wrap up. So I'm going to wrap it up. If there's other questions that come up or that are in this post, I'll try to get to them next time. If I missed them, shoot them to me in an email or even a Facebook message. Just know I don't check Facebook messages. Facebook is mental poison. Even if you didn't see this, look up Facebook co-founder kids' brains. Like, Google that and look that the Facebook founder just said that they are preying on your human instincts and how you need validation, and they designed all this into it. So Facebook is playing you right now in terms of getting you to watch and like things and post things about yourself and do all this. I'm doing this because it's been the best marketing I've ever done, and it's free. So that's why I'm here. I try not to check Facebook. Anyway, that's another whole little rant. Anyway, I'm all done. Will, I absolutely do. Mega dosing zinc will cause copper deficiency. I've seen that multiple times. But see, so now, just a final note. Mega dosing zinc causes a copper deficiency. Copper deficiency can lead to iron overload. But there's copper dysregulation where you can get too much copper in the liver, and also you can get too much iron in the liver. And so now I'm heading down this thing of, I have some people who have overdosed zinc in the past, and I believe caused themselves a big copper problem. Fixing their zinc and copper isn't fixing it right now. So now I'm going, does this all play into iron overload? This is where I go with these things. This is why one person opened up my eyes to this new connection. Well, those are two different people that I'm talking about. So one person sent me on the rabbit hole, and that may help another person. This is what I do. This is what I enjoy, is finding these rabbit holes and going down them and then using it to help people. And then when a new person comes along with a new problem that doesn't seem to work with my old stuff, then I go down a new rabbit hole and I find that. So anyway, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned lots about topical magnesium or transdermal magnesium. It's fairly simple to do. Find one that works for you. Consistently and aggressively use it. Test, don't guess. If something makes you feel bad, don't do it. Figure out something else. And we'll see you all next time.